Can you hear us okay?
Yes. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And this afternoon we have Kyle and Kristina with the VBC Club. And for those who don't know, it's Virtual Babysitting Club. So don't go over to Google and put in VBC. Otherwise, you'll receive everything but virtual babysitting. So welcome to Cool Your Heels with Lillian. And I would like you, Kyle and Kristina, to please give a little background to the folks out there so they understand where you're coming from and why you developed the app that you did.
Of course. So let's start from the beginning, I think. So Kristina, you want to
kick it off? I'm a performer in the city. I've performed there for about 5 years now. And I nannied for a little boy there, and when the COVID crisis hit, he left the city, I left the city, and after a while, we really missed each other, and so we started FaceTiming every day, and we would do things like I would take my socks off and do sock puppet shows, and we played games together and science projects, anything really, and after that, Kyle kind of got the idea.
I saw it was a lot of fun. I'm actually looking at the kitchen she started it in, and I said, this is probably something that a lot of parents and kids will both need, especially during this crisis and some future after that. And then once we found out the people that, we could help, we found out other people that are going to be willing to help too. And the people that really needed it, or at least the group, is the performers, because Kristina's network was basically family and friends, all performing arts people. And, unfortunately, through the COVID crisis, Broadway's closed indefinitely. And all their side jobs are mostly in the service industry. So those were kind of, out of the question too. So we actually started with her youngest brother because he was laid off, and we really wanted to get him some income because his wonderful, her niece and nephew, his daughter and son, they were worried about them, and we wanted to get everybody involved. So
yeah, and they're both performers, him and his wife, and he's done a multitude of things. He's been, originated Broadway, roles on Broadway. He's been in Hollywood movies, so he's very talented, and so it was a great way to start.
Yeah, so that's how we started, and then once we got a lot of interest, it just kind of picked up, and we got some good pressed on us, and then we decided to make it a business, and we created VBC, and we've been scaling and recruiting, and it's been a little bit over a month, but it's been pretty incredible so far.
Legos. I do Legos with my grandson.
Yes.
Yes.
And batteries. He's very interested in how to use batteries other than putting them into flashlights or radios. So we do a lot of experiments with wires, spinning around batteries. Airplanes, making airplanes. If you go on to Google, they tell you how to make all these wonderful paper airplanes that have nothing to do with what we used to do back in the 50s and 60s. They're really quite advanced. Yes. So yeah, I could believe it. And he can run his dad's battery down to the ground on the cell phone and be quite upset that we have to stop doing FaceTime. But I can honestly tell you, and let's say Play-Doh.
Oh,
Play-Doh,
yeah.
Yes.
They do a lot. We do a lot with Play-Doh too. So I think it's a great idea. So you developed an app to be put onto a phone?
We have a website, and when you book a session, you can just go on there and book the next day or a couple of days from then, and then you get a link and an automatic email, and that sends you to wherever you need to go for that time.
Oh, that's terrific! I'll have to get that information because both my son and his wife. Well, my son always worked at home, but now his wife is working at home, and apparently she's decorating the whole house, which is putting everybody into an uproar. So I'm sure that. If some other things can happen so that the older kids at 13, they're reading. So this is not a big deal for them. They're pretty much self-contained. Self-sufficient. Thank you. Yeah. But the 6-year-old is going crazy, and he's driving his father. And apparently he comes in when mom's on the phone with some on the video and with talking to clients overseas, and he comes in buck naked, which is fine when you're 6, but I can imagine how the clients feel. So basically then they are sent a link, and so what kind of activities do you do besides anything?
Yes.
We got an array of activities. And
so our group activities, we have broken up into 2 age groups. We have our 3 to 6 year olds, and then we have our 7 to 12 year olds. And for the 3 to 6 year olds, we have dance parties, we have hangout parties, we have a trivia game show, we have a music studio, a dance studio, and then for our older kids, we have the trivia game show that's catered for them. We have the dance party, and then a music and art studio. And then we also have the option of doing individual one-on-one sessions with performers. And we have a list of performers on the site, and all you have to do is go on there, see their interests, match them with your interests, and then you can just have an individual session. And then we're also building out our summer camp program right now, as well as our birthday party sessions.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah, what's great about working with performers is that it's just this, pile of creative energy, and they're all brainstorming every day. So we could do 6,000 different things, but we're just, one step at a time. We're getting, what we're good at, what the kids really like, and just going from there. So we're building stuff out every day, but it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have a magician that I can send you. I'll be interviewing him next week, and he's agreed to do several tricks online on video and stuff. And yet I know that kids, especially the 6 to 9 year olds, are really interested in magic and the sleight of hand. So I bet you can do a summer program about teaching kids how to do magic.
100%. That's our next category we're building out. A couple of our performers already do some magic tricks in their own show, and like what we call the hangout party, which is kind of like a mix and match of everything for the younger kids. And they love it. And one of the best parts is that as soon as they start doing the magic show, because they're so talented, we see the parents start creeping into the.
Don't lean over, lean this way, not that way. Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't want to have your head chopped off when it goes viral now. Oh wait, it is viral.
Yeah.
Anyway, we want your head in there. I don't want people to think I have a guillotine that's going horizontal now.
Fair enough.
Good. So I'm glad to hear that. Also, I suspect you have stand-up comics that work with the kids as well as arts and crafts, and because he's very much interested in how things are made.
Yeah.
And he spends hours on the Discovery Channel app where he sees all kinds of things going and being built. He even made me a cell phone holder with Legos for my cell phone. Yeah.
That's great.
He's been like that all his life. I mean, Dad is a world-renowned graphic artist, and he's gifted and talented and that type of thing. And you knew it when he was around 1 year old. He was already drawing light bulbs with the filament inside.
Really?
Yeah, Daddy was doing that. Look him up, Ben Caldwell. You can't miss him.
All right, well, maybe he should be teaching some classes.
Yeah, you can bring him on board.
Maybe you would like to have him teach the kids how to do comic books.
Yeah.
Because he has a couple of comic books out that tells you how to draw comic, action figures and fantasy figures and all that other stuff. He does teach. I mean, there's a university down in Georgia that brings him down every spring. They pay for everything for him to come down and do a whole seminar within, 3 or 4 days. So you may want to think about it. He's really good with kids.
That sounds
I have to admit, he's really, really good. Go look him up. It's Ben Caldwell Art. I do know he has some stuff that he sells, but he went through the Houston, the High School of Visual and Performing Arts. And he was majoring in both art and acting, and they said he had to choose one. And I knew the art would win out because that was his soul. And you would understand that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
That's where your soul is. So do you certify anybody who goes through any of your programs, or is just pretty much for fun for the kids?
It's basically an entertainment platform. We do have a pretty strict onboarding process, and we've partnered with Selection, which is a background check organization. So we do have a good process, which Kristina probably.
Yeah. So basically, they fill out an artist interest form. We kind of get an idea of their skills plus what they're interested in, entertaining these kids with, and then they send in a video showing us their skills, and then after that, they will go through a trial process where we would get online with them, talk one-on-one through Zoom, and see what their interests are, practice their class, and then from there we would do the background check.
That's a very good, smart idea. I know a lot of companies don't even think about that, and I think that's an excellent idea. Now, are you trying to expand over to Eurasia?
We can. We've had interest from abroad. The only issue right now is that we're really new, and we would love to. We just need to get the hours right because most of our performers are in the U.S. So we're just trying to get like U.S. hours down, and then we'll be building out some international.
I can help you with that. I've gotten really good with the 3, 2, 1, and then a day and a half from either Australia or 2 days in Hong Kong, because I interview a lot of people from all over the world. So I have a pretty good idea of how the hours go. And you're right, you have to get them down packed because you certainly don't want, we are asleep, the people in Europe, it's up, because England and most of that Western nations are about 4 to 6 hours ahead of us. Mm-hmm. And the only thing you have to worry about is when we go into daylight saving times, they do not go into daylight saving times at the same time. So then you have a 5-hour jump between things. So if you can, off the top of your head, Kyle and Kristina, could you tell the parents exactly what kind of activities you are now doing so that if they hear one and they think it's going to be a good fit, they can get in touch with you?
Sure, for sure. I think she detailed kind of like the broad overview of it, but we've got so our trivia program, we've got Beat the Board. Beat the Board is for the 7 to 12, and then Smarty Pants is for the 3 to 6. It was a game show that was built for BBC by a guy named Casey, and he's actually a host on Nickelodeon and MasterChef Live Junior. So he's got lots of experience in that area. Yeah, he's been building out Beat the Board, and what's great about it is we've done it kind of company wide too, and it's great for adults. Yeah, it's essentially like. It's a game show, and you're trying to beat the board, and you've got different categories. It's all interactive, which is incredible. And then you've got the younger kid version of that. Mm-hmm. It's not quite as much of a game show. It's called Smarty Pants, and it's just like for the little ones, like what kind of animal is this, and we can show a picture, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's our trivia program right now, our game show program, and then we've got our biggest one is the Hangout party, which is so basically in the Hangout you would have. Get to know each other in the beginning. Then there's an educational topic of the day. There's show and tell. They do a dance party. They do drawing. There's either a magic or puppet show. There's a lot that goes on in that one. So it's really exciting and fun. That's for our 3 to 6-year-olds. And then, so we've got game show, story time, or story time. So we have story time pals, which is basically, you go with different characters. Most of them are puppets, or they're, princesses, or someone who has, a character, and you read a story together, and then you kind of go into the world of that story where you talk about it, you draw pictures, you make crafts, and you kind of just like go into the world of whatever story you're going through that day. Yeah, and then we got our dance parties where our team captains are Chris and Gina. They're actually Chris is her brother, and Gina is their partner and is his partner, and they've been building out our dance parties, and they were last seen together on Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines as the leads in Saturday Night Fever. So they got some good dance moves. And they, for the young kids, it's just getting up there. Moving and grooving, There's a lot of like freeze tag, or freeze dance where they freeze and they, for the freeze tagging. And then they have, for the older kids, they teach choreography. There's like a game where like if Chris or Gina win, one of them has to get pushed into the pool because they do it right next to the pool. Or pie to face. So it's a lot of fun for the kids. And then it's fun for them too. I mean, everyone's having a blast.
It sounds like it. It also seems like I know that you're going to laugh at me, but you may want to put up some simple dancing, whether it's the salsa or the waltz, because I've got to tell you, I have granddaughters who are identical twins, and one of them was asked by a young boy last year to do ballroom dancing with him. Yeah. And after a little bit of urging, she finally did it. I thought it took a lot of nerve for a 12-year-old boy. Well, you understand that, Kyle. You were a boy once at that age, and you know how difficult it is to ask a girl to do anything, let alone dance. Yeah. And she finally acquiesced. I mean, they did a wonderful job together, and she learned how to dance. And she was, now she's now she has a boy who's a friend. Got to be very careful how we say that. And she's doing a lot more dancing. But she says, if it wasn't for the fact that I finally decided to do something like that, I would not have known. So I know that kids today are more interested in learning how to dance. Yeah, for sure. And, my grandmother would agree with you. She's got a little dance hall out there that, all when I was growing up, because we're at a cabin where our family goes for like some summers and stuff, where we got out of New York City, which is where we're from. But
she's taught us some ballroom dancing, and so she would definitely love that idea.
I mean, I think if you wanted to, you could actually draw some big footprints of actually where you put your feet while you're doing everything.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
And
Yeah,
that way they can see that as they're putting their feet on the prints, so that they can actually follow you at home. In fact, you can make a product by your footprints here, and you know, one for the left foot, one for the right foot, and then give them kind of like a pattern of how where they can put the footprints on their living room, on the floor, the carpet, and put it out there to help them remember where to put their feet as they're learning how to dance.
Yeah,
for sure, that's a great idea, and that's.
I have a good one. When you make money, let me know.
Okay.
We'll call it the Lillian special.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to help. I'm very creative that way, and when I talk to people and they tell me what they're up to, my brain just starts operating.
And that's what's so great is we're finding so many of the same type of person that just has these ideas, and now they've got a platform to build it off of. So
yeah.
And
I'm sorry to interrupt you. So after that, is there more stuff you can?
Yeah, so we have our music studio. So for the younger kids, it's a lot of sing-alongs, it's a lot of games, and then for our older kids, you know, they get to learn how a Broadway performer warms up for a show. They get to sing through songs, do vocal technique, and which a lot of them have really enjoyed. And then for our art studio, for the younger kids, it's a lot of like diving into the story and drawing and learning colors and things like that. And then for our older one, you know, they go through step-by-step drawing. So they decide which drawing they want to do that day. They all kind of decide together, and, you know, Stephanie will take them through one at a time and every line and how she sketches things out. And by the end, they have this beautiful picture, which is they love.
And Stephanie's great. She's our art captain, and we have each captain's building out different teams or just giving a model for how, you know, we want it to go. And then, like I said, everyone has their own spin to it. Everyone wants to do their own thing, and that's what we really want to encourage.
That is terrific. So, Kyle and Kristina, could you please tell everybody how to get in contact with you, how to look at your website for those who may want to join your team, where they need to contact, what you would like for them to do so that they can do all this and just send it in?
For sure. So I think the best way would be to go to our website, virtualbabysittersclub.com, and you can sign up. You can book for sessions. You can submit forms that, you know, if we've got some custom things where we've got people coming in saying, hey, I really want to build out a birthday party or a special idea. And we're able to kind of customize that to those people. And then, you know, we've got a performer section.
Yeah, for the performers, it's just right there on the homepage, and it says, are you a performer? And you can just fill it out, and it'll immediately send you the artist interest form, and you can get started in the process.
Well, that sounds really good. So ladies and gentlemen and adults of all ages, you've heard it here from Kyle and Kristina. So please go out and check out their website, virtualbabysittingclub.com. Yes. And make sure that you take a good look. Summer is coming up. And to tell you the truth, I know that even now their kids going cabin crazy, or their parents want to run away and join the circus, which is now defunct, but maybe they can start their own. So if you want to see this interview all over again, it's on facebooklive.com/Lillian Caldwell 35. It's on youtube.com/PWR Network or PW Talk Radio. It's also on https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. Right-hand side menu, scroll down, cool your heels, click on it, and there you'll see it. And you'll also see it, you'll hear the audio on iHeart, iTunes, Alexa, that's put out by Amazon. Also Spotify, Spreaker, you know the drill, on all the directories. And before you go away and stray, Scott Fitzgerald had this to say in 1945, young people do not perceive at once that the giver of wounds is the enemy, and the quoted tattle marry the arrow. Thank you all very much for listening. And remember, until next time, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian.
Thanks.